What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Sly Jordy, and finally welcome to my first episode of F1 25 driver career mode. That's right, we're going to be doing driver career mode this year to make up for what was an abysmal year last year on F1 24. I know most people are going to be jumping into the new and hopefully improved My Team career mode, and we'll get round to that eventually. But yeah, like I said, driver career mode matters more to me, especially since we don't get to play as our own driver in My Team anymore. So yeah, let's just hop right into it. We're going to skip to F1, just get right into the full season. Custom settings, difficulty wise, we're going to go with 95 difficulty, which was what we had in F1 23. I didn't know what difficulty I should have gone with 24. I think we did like 90 eventually. We settled on that, but even if 95 ends up being too difficult, we can always just put it down to it being our first season in Formula 1, and you know, I can adjust things accordingly or just get better at the game. So here is our driver. Pretty much we've got some whole new avatar faces now. The quality fluctuates. I do miss some of the older ones that we had, but we had those for like 10 years plus. I think, or around 10 years, so they were definitely due a change, and obviously these ones are a lot more high detailed now. So yeah, this is going to be our new avatar for the foreseeable future. It feels like a bit of a new beginning, while also being the end of an old era, of course, with these regulations rounding off. So we'll advance from there. We've got driver ratings returning.
I'll be your agent for your
and Elena.
Career in Formula 1. Great to meet you.
Great.
Now that we've introduced ourselves,
fantastic.
you'll see that you now have a set of
I miss Emma.
ratings.
Bring back
These will be
Emma.
tied to you for the entirety of your career and will track your progress. As you perform well out on track, these ratings will improve and feed into various other areas of your journey through F1. We'll cover each rating in more detail later.
Detail. Whatever. So we start as a 65 overall. I can copy my my helmet from my F1 World design that I made specially for this. Look at this design. What do you guys think? I honestly love the new helmets for this year. Also, the Lewis Hamilton helmets aren't too bad neither. Honestly, I was really tempted to use this one if only we could remove you know, his logo. But yeah, having his helmets in the game is always pretty nice. So if anybody was a big fan of Lewis Hamilton, you've got that, of course. I'm not, so I, you know, decided to use my own generic one. But these generic ones are really good. They've got the decals all over to simulate sponsors. This is great. This is something I would have wanted ages ago. And I mean, we kind of had it before, but they were all like haphazardly placed, and they were all white. You know, there was no color to them at all. This is different now, so honestly, I am well happy with that, and that's going to be our helmet for Season 1. Oh wow, we got more academies this time, so they've decided to get a bit more realistic with it. So we got the Mercedes Driver Academy, which follows Mercedes and Aston Martin. We've got the Ferrari Driver Academy, the Red Bull Driver Academy, Alpine, McLaren, Williams have their own Driver Academy, and Sauber. So yeah, that's realistic. These never had it before. I think McLaren might have had their own Driver Academy, or they were with the Mercedes ones. I don't know. I know Red Bull had their own, but Sauber was bundled with the Ferrari ones. But they decided to go a bit more realistic this time. So we're not going to be going with Williams in terms of like our first season, mainly because I don't see any scenario where Alex Albon or Carlos Sainz gets replaced by any rookie. But we'll still come out of the Williams Driver Academy. That's the team I support. So we're going to advance with that. But
closely together to get...
Shut up. No, I don't care. So the first team that we're going to be going with will be V-Carb. We're going to go with Racing Bulls. I don't know whether I'm going to be teaming with Liam Lawson or Isaac Hajar. I'm probably going to go with Hajar, judging from you know, the performances this season. But yeah, I wanted to go with V-Carb because, I mean, look at this design. It is absolutely awesome. We're going to go with that one. Choosing the teammate.
Okay, who would you like your teammate to be?
I already know. We're going to go with that. We're going to go with Hajar, mainly because of his performance this season. And look at those racing overalls. This looks awesome. So without further ado, let's get F1 25 underway. So we're starting in Monaco. This is probably going to be like the same sort of cutscene as before. Hopefully it's different. We'll see. But we're on a yacht. a bit unrealistic to start off in Monaco so early.
Finally, let's do this for real. Sorry it took so long. You know what these legal types are like? Yes, sir. No, sir. Here's 80 pages of needless jargon, sir.
It's the exact same cutscene as last year. That's not good.
Believe it or not,
just different angles.
This is my excited face. Come on. Let me show you what we've got. So, all
the environment's
usual
better
stuff,
though. It's nicer.
Merchandising, likeness, blah, blah, blah. But the really juicy stuff is their expectation of you. They need you to challenge yourself all season, be the best you can be, dominate your teammate, become a legend. All that jazz.
Of course.
Now, it's over to you.
Alright. Well, I want to keep my options open for this first season, so we'll only sign on for one season with VCarb, and you know how volatile the Red Bull seats are.
It's contract time. The team are expecting you to improve as your career evolves.
Of course.
So am I. Here, we will be setting you a contractual target with the team, so that this progress can be tracked by both parties. Here,
Alright.
you can view
Yeah, I know how the ratings worked. I played last year. I wish we could turn off tutorials before going into the game, because having to skip all these are really annoying. But in terms of driver ratings, we're going to try and get it to where we're 50-50 with Isaac Hajar, so we'll aim for 70 overall. Obviously, we can renegotiate a better contract later on, or we could go to a different team entirely, of course, especially if secret meetings are a thing. We can't sign on for any more than one season, so that's cool. I wasn't planning on staying more than a season anyway, if better, opportunities come along. Obviously, we want a team that will be able to fight for a championship, but for now, we're going to start in the midfield with Racing Bull's Toro Rosso AlphaTauri.
That sounds awesome to say. Time to go crush that target. I'll see you soon.
Hopefully not. Hopefully we never see you again. But there we go. Our F1 contract has been signed, and this looks very familiar. But the lighting is 100 steps ahead. Wow. It does look way better than F1 24. And I played that on the PS5 as well. But everything else is more or less the same. I wish we could customize our headquarters.
A couple of things. Throughout your career, you'll get a...
All right, I know how this works. Okay, cool. So, we got our little messages here, and we're going to be teaming up with Isaac Hajar and also going against him. Really cool. Oh, wow, look at this. So, I think these are actual, images of... Well, I don't think that's an actual image, but I know that is probably an actual image of Mark Priestley. Cool. In terms of specialists, yeah, we got these already. And we've only got one for now. Oh, so 68 overall. Yeah, we're really not too far behind Hajar in terms of overall. So that's not too bad at all. We got customization, which we'll be able to do our helmet and emotes, blah, blah. And then we've got R&D. Got whole new logos for this. This just looks great. The font is more F1 styled as well. It looks like a lot more refined than the last couple of years definitely have. It's a bit more appealing, that's for sure. But we could definitely go into all of these. I feel like the chassis definitely needs work, so...
Okay, here's where you're going to purchase and manage your upgrade.
Yeah, alright, Mark. So we could go cockpit, weight reduction. Yeah, that's the only thing we can go with. So we'll go with that. We really need to start improving the chassis if we want to compete with the other teams. We do have insufficient points though, so we do have to wait a little bit. That's for sure. Alright, looks like Isaac is one step ahead of us. He has already applied for the chassis upgrade, so that's cool for him. He's also keeping an eye on a durability upgrade. We're going to go for the aerodynamics. So we could go for the beam wing or the secondary wing flaps. We're going to go for this one, and that should be complete after the Chinese Grand Prix, so that's going to take a while to come in. We do have a new season grid reveal. Let's do this. Look at this. It does look really good, I won't lie. And obviously we're going to get a lot of the perks of leaving last gen behind finally. The drivers look great, I won't lie. I've never liked how everybody's size is the same though. Look, Tsunoda's taller than Max, like, what do you mean? Crazy how they how they allow that to happen. But there's us. Oh, this looks great. Yeah, so this was different this year. And the grid reveal is in Bahrain, funnily enough, even though Bahrain is not until round 3. But there you go. That was the grid reveal. Clearly takes a lot of loading, though. I will say that. Of course, the game has just come out. It's been out an hour, if that. But we got cockpit weight reduction.
Right,
development failed.
A major issue on the production line earlier this week, and the entire development package for the weekend has failed.
That's not good, is it?
Will need to be ordered from the R&D screen.
All right. And that's not going to arrive till the Chinese Grand Prix now. So, the first Grand Prix is actually going to be the Australian Grand Prix. So the Australian Grand Prix was the first race that we got a decent result in. I think points. I think it was the first time we scored points in F123 My Team. And then last year, for F124 Driver Career Mode, this was the first track that we got a win at. So we've always gone well around Australia. How will it go in F125? We shall find out. But without further ado, let's head down to Melbourne for our very first practice session and laps on the game. Look at this. Getting a view of the trailer. That's where we're going to be for all of the season. The VCARB merch is such a mess, man. It's such a mess of sponsors, but whatever. This is it. We've got all new logos for everything. Look at the practice logos here. They've really tried to make it at least feel a bit different, which I can always appreciate, of course. Development updates. Yeah, we've got a bunch of them. Have a look through that. All the specialists. Of course, our target is 70. Which is always nice. And then we've got all of our engine components as well. I feel like something's missing here. I feel like we had one more engine component before, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just being goofy. But we got 6 gearboxes to work with over the course of the season, so that's going to be really useful. 4 different ICEs. Only 2 energy stores though, so maybe eventually we'll have to take an engine penalty. 4 turbochargers, very, very generous compared to F123, I'll give you that. But yeah, we've only got one choice, and that is to head into FP1. So, yeah.
The long wait is over. This is it, a brand new season. And before the show gets well and truly underway, we've got the all-important matter of a free practice session. It's great to be back.
We are so back. Look at this. So this is a new LiDAR scanned track, I'm pretty sure. So completely new experience there. Oh, the helmet looks beautiful. I'm actually so happy with it. Wow. Look at the team principal, the detail on him there. That's crazy. This game looks so much better than F124. It is insane, the leap that we've took. And all they had to do was drop last gen. So F122 and F123 could have looked this good, but, you know. Wow.
Okay, mate, this is the
Look at the detail on the steering wheel.
Now, I know it's a big ask, but let's get some useful data and get you used to how the practice sessions work. Let's start the season as we mean to go on, eh? I know we could have a great year, so let's go.
Alright, looking at this now, yeah, it's just been a complete overhaul in terms of, just overall logos and stuff. I can really, really appreciate that. So, we've got 3 practice programs to work with. Obviously, we've got all these tyres that we can use as well. I'm particularly excited to get into a sprint weekend, but without further ado, let's just get out there and drive, you know? Just to get a feel for the handling and the overall graphics. Let's just go.
Okay, me again, mate. We've made some changes to the way that ERS works this year, so you're going to have multiple modes to choose from in the race now. Have a play around with them in your MFD during the practice sessions and think about how you might use them on race day. I'll check back with you soon to chat more about it.
Alright, so realistically there hasn't been too many changes in terms of the ERS compared to last year. They've just refined it. Oh, the engine noises have changed. So I played the beta and the engine noises were largely the same to F124, but this is clearly different. Wow. There is some big changes here for Australia. I'll tell you that right now. You could probably tell from the first couple of corners. This feels and looks so fresh, man. And the handling feels nice, really nice as well. Of course, everybody's been saying that it's a mix of F124 and F123. I sussed that out the second I played the first beta, like 2-3 months ago now. This looks fantastic. Oh my god. A lot of understeer through there, but that's because we're on the hards. The tyres look amazing. This whole game looks incredible. I actually like the UI at the bottom, like the whole harvesting thing as well, to be fair. I think it's a big improvement on last year's. Overall, I think F123's was probably the best one. And hopefully in the future we get like an option where we can just flick between different looking ones. Let's use a bit of ERS now. All the fonts are different and capitalized. I don't know, it feels a lot more stylized. Like they put a lot more effort into making it feel a lot more like the actual product. But this game looks absolutely incredible. I don't think it will carry across to the video, because my videos render in about 30 FPS. I'm playing this in 60, but even at 30 FPS, this probably still looks fantastic, you know? It looks great. You saw the way the grass was on the tyre there as well. Just, it looks great. All the trees and stuff, it really makes it look so much better than before. Of course, all the old tracks before were from like 5-6 years ago. So we'll still have some tracks here and there that do look progressively outdated compared to a track like this, but we've got this one, and then we got, I think it's China next, right? Or is it Japan? Japan's round 3, so Japan will be new, then Bahrain's going to be new, so I think the only one that will look a bit odd is China, but China always looks great anyway, so I'm not too fussed about it. But yeah, our first couple of laps here, we're feeling pretty good. Honestly, I'm pretty confident. Yeah, a lot of the advertising has changed as well. For the longest time, it was Rolex. So, you know, even the littlest change of changing it to Louis Vuitton makes the game feel so different. But the handling feels great, you know. There are absolutely no issues that I have with the handling whatsoever. It does genuinely feel like a beautiful blend between F124 and F123, mostly F123, to be honest. The only issue I had with F123 was that it had a bit too much understeer, you know? But you can really feel the oversteer that F124 brought while having that stability of F123. So, yeah, I'm really happy with the handling, but honestly, the handling can be atrocious, and I won't mind as long as the AI is good. So what really matters is the race, which we'll see towards the end of this episode. Alright, so I'll say this right now, concluding our first practice session here at Melbourne. I'm not too sure about the AI pace. Of course, I do have the difficulty set at 95, which is reasonably high. Yet we're P2. I don't have any particular setups on. I'm using the balanced one. I've not touched it at all. And I did that with my first lap on the mediums. Now, I don't know if that's because of track conditions or whatever, but the only person who's set a quicker lap than me is Max Verstappen on the softs. So hopefully that's not a sign of just, you know, slow AI. Of course, now Piastri has gone quicker than me, so we'll see. You know what? And this is really weird. I might have to change difficulty. I might have to heighten it because, I mean, look how much quicker I am. Even on 95 difficulty, this is just so weird to be so much quicker than the AI at a difficulty which was pretty much at my pace on F123, and I think quicker than me on F124. So, yeah, I'm quite pleasantly surprised that I'll have to turn up the AI. So we'll turn it up to 100 for qualifying, that's for sure.
And a warm welcome, everybody. We're here in the heart of Melbourne. It's Albert Park, and it's qualifying for the Australian Grand Prix.
And look at these beautiful views of the new LiDAR scanned Albert Park. It genuinely does look amazing. We are finally in next generation in terms of the Formula One games. It's been a long time coming as we now bring our car around ready to kick off the first lap of Q1. So much unknown here. This is what we've all been waiting for. They can get the handling right, they can get the graphics right, and they have really got them right. But what really matters is the AI. If the AI is bad, a big chunk of the F1 game community is not going to be playing the game. So it really, the discovery of whether or not they are good starts here, at least with in terms of pace anyway. But also, this is our first lap with the soft tyres on. I've only used the hards and the mediums. I did a lap on the softs for FP3, but this is in qualifying conditions, so we know a lot less fuel is in the tank, that is for sure. But the game honestly feels great. If you guys remember in F1 24, the oversteer would sometimes translate into understeer. Very weirdly, particularly out of the final corner. I think we hit the wall a few times coming round the final corner on that game. It was just so, inconsistent. I really couldn't recognize a pattern with that game. But with this game, as I've already said, alluded to throughout this episode, it's just so much better. Honestly, it's been a long time coming, but F1 is finally fun to play again after a horrible year. But a 119.3 versus Isaac Hajar's 119.4. So I think we've got our AI difficulty at the best position that it could be. As we now come around the final corner to finish off Q1, just behind our teammate, of course. P12 in Q1. This lap puts us into P9 as we get out of the way of Fernando Alonso, but the AI has a bit of a confusing moment there as Alonso also slows down, and he would have been on a flyer. So I think the AI just acted as if I was in the way or something, as if I was impeding, but I wasn't, and that actually knocks Fernando Alonso out of Q1. So I would feel bad if I wasn't more confused, but our teammate made it through. The Haas cars made it through as well. George Russell nearly eliminated in Q1 in that Mercedes, so that's a strange one because Antonelli qualified pretty well. But as we now go into Q2, I wanted to save a set of softs for Q2, of course. I think I used 2 sets in Q1 just to get out of that session, which means we've only got about 3 left. And I wanted to use 2 in Q3, so that leaves only 1 for Q2. So I ended up going out on the other set that we had, which was a set of mediums, and honestly the laps weren't too bad. Obviously the recent Formula 1 Grand Prix IRL, in Imola, we saw that the mediums are mightily close to the softs in terms of quali pace, so maybe that's translating over to the game a little bit, but yeah. Soft tyres, we had to use the soft tyres on that final run. We were nearly knocked out of Q2 right there, but we make it into Q3 just ahead of Oliver Behrman. So Ollie Behrman in the Haas nearly made it to Q3, but the biggest surprise is Charles Leclerc is out. He didn't even get past Behrman. Our teammate is in P14. We've got Esteban Ocon in the Haas in P7, Alexander Albon P9. George Russell finally gets a good lap together. He's in P3. Antonelli just about makes it into P10. But yeah, very, very unlucky from Behrman. Quicker than Leclerc. And honestly could have made it into Q3 if it wasn't for our good lap right at the end there. So, now into Q3, I'm going to be using a worn set of softs. So I think I had 1 less softs than I calculated earlier. So my bad for that. That's why we use the mediums, because I only had 2 other sets and 1 set for Q3. So yeah, just going on an old set of softs just to set a lap around here. There's going to be no surprises on this lap except the fact that we'll be Ocon and be competing with Albon. But everybody above us is in the fastest cars on the grid, so that's something to watch out for. But without further ado, I'm going to leave you guys with the penultimate qualifying lap.
1 minute to go.
So there we go, a really strong lap, particularly in Sector 3, but it's only enough to get us in front of Esteban Ocon. So the Williams of Albon, we know how good the Williams is looking in the real life season, is ahead of us, along with all the usual suspects, Red Bull, McLaren, Mercedes, and the Hamilton Ferrari. So we are ahead of Ocon. Ocon only did one lap though, so honestly, I don't know how that looks in terms of our overall pace, but of course race pace is completely different. Yeah, it's time to find out just how good the AI is on this year's game. So going into the race, we've got a few R&D points to spend. I think I'm going to put this right towards the aerodynamic. Isaac has his eyes on it as well. So yeah, unfortunately this will come after the Japanese Grand Prix. I want to see if we can get it beforehand, judging from the fact that this is kind of a home race for Racing Bulls, the Japanese Grand Prix anyway, because of the Honda connection. So we're going to see if we can rush it. There's a 55% failure chance, but, you know, you're not going to get any better up the grid if you don't take some risk, at least. But yeah, so far, we seem to be on pace with Williams, Aston Martin, and Haas. I think the only reason Alonso didn't make it past Q1 was because we impeded him a little bit. I think the AI just had a bit of an aneurysm, because I did get fully out of his way. There was no way whatsoever that Alonso could have been impeded there, so I just think it was an AI issue. Other than that, we seem to be at the pace that I expect, other than the fact that we had to turn the AI difficulty up by 5 to 100, which is the highest I've ever had it, but I've already mentioned that. So without further ado, let's get into the race. 29 laps around Melbourne, our very first race of F1 25.
The winter is over. It's time for Formula One 2025. Yes, that long break that you've all been coping with so well can now be put to the back of your minds. It's on-track action and it's off-track drama. That's what we're looking forward to. We go racing today then in the state of Victoria, where the drivers have 14 corners and 3.28 miles to navigate at an average lap speed of around 120 miles per hour. The close proximity of the barriers make accidents inevitable, and recent history shows us that a safety car is not at all out of the question. And alongside me in the commentary box today, former racing driver herself, Naomi Schiff. As much as I like testing, and I do love testing, and I've really enjoyed the build-up here and all the speculation, I really want to see some action. And finally today, we get some proper action on the track.
This is always such an exciting time in the season. First of all, it's the first time they'll be racing their new cars. So that's always an exciting thing for drivers to look forward to. But also, they've had a long time off during the winter break. So it's about dusting the cobwebs off, getting the rust off of their bones, and really getting their elbows out there and having some fun.
Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down.
So in our final moments before lights out for the 2025 season, it is of course time to look at our strategy, which was a strange one. I wasn't able to switch the two tires. I had to do a work around it by going into the alternate strategy and putting that down to a 2, because I wanted to start on the mediums. We are the slowest car in this top 10 besides the Haas. So I wanted to be on the quickest tyres possible, just so we could get in front of people like Albon, for example, and get the best position that we possibly can by the time we head onto that second stint. So yes, Albon's on the hards, Ocon behind us is on the hards, same as Behrman. We're on the mediums, and we'll be starting right behind Kimi Antonelli. So hopefully we can get a good slipstream off the clearly quicker Mercedes. To be able to get in front of Albon, of course. We'll have to find out what happens. But yeah, here we go. Finishing up the formation lap and settling our car on the grid.
Parking there, mate. Let's make sure we get the edge on the surrounding drivers as the lights go out.
So here we are, waiting for the lights. F1 25 is finally underway, and it's a horrible start for Kimi Antonelli. Great start for us, not a decent start for Albon neither, so we get in front of both of them, and this is great as we now look to see if we can go around Piastri, who's side by side with Russell, and Albon in the commotion, has managed to get in front of us here, and I'm trying to configure my ERS systems, and Albon obviously takes advantage of that. Probably not the best idea for me to try and switch between them, but I genuinely thought I might have had the position there. But Albon, very aggressive overtake there. That's a really nice sign from the AI there as they squeezed me towards the wall. But now we need to spend some ERS to try and retake that position here. As Albon looks to get slipstream off Piastri. Piastri though moves over to the left, so we're getting a little slipstream, but with all the overtake that we've used, we managed to get ahead of Albon. But it's not good in the long term because, you know, we need ERS to be able to compete with everybody else, especially with these top drivers and cars in front of us. We're really going to need the extra speed, the extra ERS, and the extra clever strategy, of course. But honestly, the ERS system, so much better this year. I had a huge issue with it last year, particularly with, you know, harvesting it. It was so difficult to do in that game. Compared to this one, it is so much better. I'm just really happy with this game, to be quite honest with you. I'm enjoying it so much. And at this point, P7, we're going to be using Oscar Piastri, hopefully, to get as much DRS as possible to keep us ahead of the Williams right there. Of course, the Williams has always been pretty good on the straight as we now go through the grid. It looks as though Verstappen and Hamilton have been fighting as Lando Norris is stretching his lead out in front here. And we are going to focus, like I said, on keeping up with Piastri. I really don't think we're going to overtake him at this phase of the race, but with the ERS usage that we have, and you know, getting DRS off of the McLaren right there, we stand a pretty good chance of getting a really strong P7 for our first race of the season, which just isn't bad at all. But keeping an eye on the leaderboard to the top left there, Charles Leclerc has now moved on to P9 as we dip a tyre into the grass, nearly lose control of the car, and that's actually going to knock us out of DRS range of Piastri, just about, which is really not good, as Albon will be licking his lips behind us, looking for that overtake. So we're going to have to spend as much overtake as we possibly can to try and keep ahead of Albon as he slowly creeps towards us. But I think we've made it to turn one just in time, as we can now focus on trying to catch up to Piastri, which we'll be able to do by braking a lot later than he'll be able to, as he is in the wake of Russell's Mercedes, as you can tell right there. Easy catch up right there, getting an easy 5/10 back on him, as we now skip ahead to lap 4. Pretty much my strategy of sticking behind Piastri has worked. Albon has not managed to overtake us, and instead it's Charles Leclerc who's now managed to take P8. So big recovery drive from the Ferrari driver right there. From P12 to P8 in just 4 laps is not too shabby from him, but of course he's going to be a lot more difficult to defend against versus Albon. Of course, the Ferrari is still one of the best cars on the grid, especially compared to the Williams, and especially with how the cars are calculated as of right now, as the game comes out. I think they're based on the first race of the season, as of and not, you know, right now, as the Williams is really good on some tracks, might even be just as good as the Ferrari, but for the most part the Ferrari is better. And yes, our race engineer wants us to keep him behind until lap 10, so that's going to be quite a task, even with the DRS, the tow that we're getting from Oscar Piastri all around the track, really. There's no moves going on ahead of us, except the fact that Verstappen and Hamilton seem to be fighting quite a bit side by side now. Lando Norris's lead has extended quite a lot more, but we've got this little DRS train of our own going on here, quite the pack from Hamilton down to Albon, so it could be a huge battle for P2 here, but of course everybody behind Albon is now starting to separate into their own little sections here, of course, and we're still ahead of Leclerc, so we're doing a really good job here, as there's a big slowdown ahead of us. I feel like Verstappen and Tsunoda must have had quite the battle, as we now get the run on Oscar Piastri using the last of our ERS and diving down the inside, squeezing Oscar out as we take P6. Wow. So that's going to do wonders for our objective of keeping Leclerc behind until lap 10, because now Leclerc not only has to overtake Piastri, he then will have to catch up to us all over again. So as long as we can keep Piastri behind now, and as long as we can keep Russell within DRS range, we're looking for a really, really good result here. And honestly, a much better result than I thought. Again, we're at 100 AI. I genuinely felt as though, P7 or because of Leclerc, P8 might have been our best bet. But points, and big points, are definitely on for the Red Bull Junior team here as we now move on to the Red Bull Senior team. And look at how aggressive Tsunoda is being in his defense. Christian Horner must be blowing up a blood vessel in that head of his watching this happen out on track. This is absolutely insane, as me and Russell are pretty much just waiting to see if there's any huge mistakes so we can take those positions for ourselves. But the battle between the senior team at Red Bull is honestly going to be a major opportunity for us. We could get a much stronger result than P6 if those Red Bulls keep fighting. Of course, we still haven't pit yet, and we're pitting within the next couple of laps. So, we're pitting on this lap 12 right here, and we're going to be pitting ahead of the Red Bulls here, as well as Russell. We're actually pitting ahead of everybody around us. So this is going to be a huge undercut here, but look at this. I gotta point this out. The graphics of this. Look at the tire. Oh my god. Thank god that we've left last gen behind finally, because this game looks absolutely incredible. I'm on the PlayStation 5, so I don't even have like all the PC enhancements like path tracing and all that, you know. I'm on standard PS5 game performance quality, and it looks incredible. It genuinely looks amazing, just in terms of overall fidelity and, what they've done to other parts of the game in terms of presentation. It's so massive. But in terms of our race, we're now in quite a lot of clean air, which means we can now make up a lot of time. Funnily enough, our teammate, lap 15, still hasn't pit. He started on the hard, so I don't know what's going on with our teammate's strategy there. I would have thought they would have pit him right after me. They probably could have got a huge undercut for him and get him out of whatever DRS train he must have been in. But they've had him going long here, and it's actually to the detriment of us, as he's pretty much holding us up. And with the likes of Russell and Verstappen behind us, because yes, we have undercut them, this is a horrible thing. So we need to get past Hajar as quickly as possible, and he really does make that so much more difficult than it really needs to be. But now we can finally set our sights on the Ferrari of Charles Leclerc, who pitted before us on the hards. So I think he went for an undercut, but for some reason I think he's going for a two-stop, it seems, which is very strange. Clearly he's already lost a lot of time to Hamilton, so Leclerc is definitely going to pit another time later on in this race, which means we're coming on to a P3 at the end, which is absolutely insane. With Russell, Verstappen and Piastri all behind us, we know they'll be fighting. Tsunoda's probably going to be fighting with Verstappen if Tsunoda comes out around him. So Red Bull have really shot themselves in the foot here, but it's come at the advantage, at the amazing, beautiful opportunity for us here, as Leclerc does pit on lap 20, and that automatically promotes us to P3, as Piastri has caught up to Russell and Verstappen, and they're fighting. So we do have 4.5 seconds, 4.4, 4.3 seconds ahead of George Russell here, but of course again he's fighting with Piastri and Verstappen. So as long as we can just do our own race, harvest well, take care of these hards, we're going to make it all the way to the end of this race quite comfortably with an amazing P3 finish, and honestly, nothing else at all happens throughout this race as we now move on to our final lap, 4 seconds ahead of Russell, so he did manage to gain some time on us, but it really fluctuated. Sonoda is once again fighting with Verstappen, and as you can tell, look at that, 10 seconds behind, so Russell's managed to gain 6 seconds. I don't know what it is about Sonoda and Verstappen in this particular race, but they just wouldn't stop fighting, and it has really managed to elevate me and Russell. Of course, Russell, well, I think he started off pretty high, but we, you know, having caught up to Russell due to our overtakes on the likes of Piastri, you know, it's really won us the entire race. That first stint, going on to the mediums, having that tyre advantage, that's exactly why I wanted to go on the mediums on this weaker car, because if Russell was within DRS range at this point, it would genuinely be a you know, just a matter of time before Russell would catch us up. But at the end of the day, it is Lando Norris with probably the easiest victory of his career besides Singapore. He takes an easy win here in Melbourne, and it's Lewis Hamilton in his debut race for Ferrari taking P2. But we are going to be stealing the spotlight. It's another Red Bull on the podium, but it's the junior team as we take P3 in our very first race.
Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
Here's the checkered flag, and our winner has Landoed. It's Lando Norris for victory.
And to get a victory at the first race of the season, this might be a sign of things to come. One thing's for sure is that this performance will be giving the team and the driver relief and confidence going into the rest of the season.
It's time for our podium celebrations. And as ever in Formula One, 3 is the magic number.
You know, I've always been extremely appreciative of the little things, especially in annual games, and yeah, this new podium, like shaky camera angles simulating an actual cameraman, it's a huge game changer. Fundamentally, not a lot has changed, but the presentation has seen such a massive upgrade on this game. And, you know, I was already in a good mood about the game, but being able to get that P3 on merit with really good AI, especially having moved it up to 100, I'm just so happy with this game. In fact, I'm even happier with this game than I was with F1 23 when that game came out. If you guys remember the first episode of my team, we ran into a massive audio bug, we got caught up in collisions, and we ended up finishing last in our debut race. So this is just, you know, night and day here as we managed to get a P3. Fernando Alonso manages to recover to P9, so big for him. Unfortunately, our teammate doesn't place very well. Honestly, I think I'd put that down to strategy. If he'd have pit like maybe a lap after me, gotten out of, you know, whatever DRS train he was in, I genuinely think he would have got a much better result. But guys, that was our first initial episode for F1 25 Driver Career Mode. I'm so sorry that it's come so late in the day. But, you know, 3 hours playing this game passed like nothing. And I didn't really want to rush out an episode any more than I had to. But, yeah, guys, cheers for watching. I'll see you guys tomorrow for more F1 25.